Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this explosive edition of Entertainment Buzz, where we dive deep into the scandals that shake the world of showbiz. Today, we're unpacking one of the most talked about meltdowns in recent TV history, the infamous moment when action star Liam Neeson, fresh off promoting his latest thriller, found himself in the hot seat on ITV's Loose Women, facing off against the unflinching Denise Welch in a confrontation so heated it ended with him storming off the set. Picture this, it's a crisp autumn morning in a bustling London studio, the kind where the air crackles with anticipation as celebrities saunter in for what they assume will be a light-hearted chat. Liam Neeson, at 73 years young, strides in with that signature brooding intensity, his broad shoulders filling the doorway, dressed in a sharp navy suit that hints at the rugged charm that's made him a household name from Taken to Schindler's List. The audience buzzes with excitement. After all, who wouldn't want to hear tales from a man who's chased down villains on screen and off? But as the cameras roll and the panel assembles, there's Denise Welch, the Geordie firebrand with a mane of blonde hair and eyes that could pierce steel, sitting there with her co-hosts, ready to steer the conversation into uncharted, uncomfortable waters. Loose Women has always been a platform for unfiltered opinions, a daily dose of female empowerment mixed with celebrity gossip, but on this day, it transforms into a battleground. The episode kicks off innocently enough, with host Christine Lampard introducing Liam as the king of revenge flicks, prompting chuckles and applause. He settles into the plush red sofa, flashing the disarming Irish smile, perhaps expecting questions about his upcoming film, a gritty espionage drama titled Shadow Pursuit, where he plays a retired spy pulled back into the fray. But Denise, known for her no-holds-barred style and her history of calling out hypocrisy in Hollywood, has other plans. She's been vocal in the past about issues of race and privilege, drawing from her own experiences as an actress who's navigated the choppy waters of British telly for decades. As the segment begins, the other panelists, Nadia Sawalha with her warm empathy and Janet Street Porter with her acerbi quita, nod along, but it's clear from the get-go that Denise is locked and loaded. As the dust settles from Denise's opening salvo, Liam Neeson leans back, his large frame seeming to expand with the weight of recollection, the studio's ambient hum underscoring the sudden shift from levity to laceration. "I've spent years reflecting on that chapter," he begins, his tone gravelly yet earnest, eyes locking on to Denise's with the intensity of a man who's faced down worse than a talk show grilling, perhaps the ghosts of Belfast or the emptiness after Natasha's death. "It was rage, pure and blinding, after someone I loved was violated. I didn't act on it, thank God, but admitting it publicly, that was my penance, to show vulnerability in a world that demands heroes be flawless." The audience murmurs, a few nods of empathy breaking through the tension, but Denise isn't buying the redemption arc wholesale. She's seen too many silver screen saviors dodge accountability, her own career marked by typecasting and tabloid trials that taught her to question the gloss. "Penance?" she retorts, her northeast lilt sharpening like a blade. "You profited from that vulnerability. Liam book tours, interviews, turning pain into promo. Meanwhile, Black communities hear that story and feel the chill of real threat. How does that not perpetuate the very stereotypes Schindler fought?" The panel erupts softly. Nadia interjects with a gentle "let's hear him out," while Janet smirks, muttering "this is Loose Women, not a confessional." Liam's face reddens, not from shame but from the sting of being cornered, his hands gesturing broadly as if conducting an invisible orchestra of defense. "Stereotypes? Christ, Denise, I grew up dodging bombs in a divided city, a Catholic versus Protestant, us versus them. That mentality nearly destroyed me, and I won't let it define me now." It's a raw pivot to his troubles-era youth, a time when neighbor turned on neighbor, and young Liam boxed to pay the bills, channeling fury into fists rather than feuds. Denise counters swiftly, drawing from her own well of societal scars, "And I grew up in a mining town where class and gender lines were battlefields. But we don't get a pass to generalize harm because of our pain. Your story, as told, paints black men as vengeance fodder. That's the issue, not your intent." The back and forth quickens, a verbal fencing match where each thrust draws gasps from the crowd. Liam recounts therapy sessions with Dr. Phil McGraw, How cognitive behavioral techniques rewired his triggers, turning "I will find you" from threat to mantra of healing. Denise acknowledges the effort but demands more. Allyship isn't just apology, it's action. Have you used your platform for racial justice since? Donated to causes? Amplified voices? Liam nods vigorously, citing quiet philanthropy support for the Innocence Project. Cameos and diversity-driven indie essay but admits, not enough. Perhaps. I'm learning, always, yet the concession feels like a concession stand in a war zone, insufficient to douse the flames. The tipping point arrives like a freight train in the tunnel, subtle rumbles building to a deafening roar, as Liam Neeson's composure, that ironclad facade honed over decades of high-stakes drama, begins to fracture under Denise Welch's relentless scrutiny. It's midway through the segment now, the studio clock ticking past the allotted 10 minutes, the air thick with unspoken resentments and the faint scent of hastily applied makeup. Liam, his tie slightly askew from animated gestures, attempts a heartfelt detour. Look, I've marched for peace in Derry, buried friends to violence. Hates no stranger, but it's not my legacy. His voice cracks on legacy, evoking the weight of a career built on portraying redeemers, from the Holocaust hero to the paternal avenger. The audience leans forward, sensing vulnerability, a few dabbing eyes with tissues provided in seat pockets. But Denise, perched like a hawk on her perch, isn't swayed by sentiment. Her empathy has limits, forged in feminist fires and personal reckonings. Peace marches are grand, Liam, but words in interviews linger like shrapnel. You said you'd kill any black mana and he implies all. That's not peace, it's prejudice cloaked in pain. Her delivery is measured yet merciless, each syllable a pebble in the avalanche, drawing from her playbook of parliamentary takedowns and soapy showdowns. The panel fractures, Nadia advocates grace. We've all said regrettable things, while Janet cackles. Regrettable? That's understatement of the year. A tri-explosive. Liam's retort comes hot, cloaked. Bollocks. It was naked shame, broadcast to warn others. You twist it to fit your narrative. The accusation hangs, accusatory in itself, implying Denise's agenda is performative rather than principled. Gasps ripple through the crowd, phones aloft capturing every micro-expression of Liam's furrowed brow, Denise's unflinching stare. This is the fulcrum, where defense tips to offense, the interview morphing from Cula to cage match. Denise fires back, her chair scraping as she leans in. My narrative? It's the narrative of every marginalized voice tired of good intentions excusing harm. Your fans adore the tough guy. Use that toughness for real fights, like calling out cop brutality in your films. Liam scoffs, a low rumble. Films? I'm an actor, not an activist. But I've donated a six figures to anti-racism orgs, quietly, without fanfare. It's a revelation, unscripted, meant to underscore humility, but Denise pounces, quietly. That's the privilege. A white guilt whispered, while we shout for survival. The exchange devolves into overlaps. Liam's that's unfair, clashing with Denise's truth's never fair. Christine Lampard, the referee in this ring, attempts timeouts. Let's take a breath. Both brilliant points, but it's futile. The momentum is a runaway horse. The audience, that barometer of daytime drama, splits audibly. A claps for Denise's fire, murmurs for Liam's plight. In the eye of the storm, with the studio lights casting long shadows across furrowed faces, the confrontation reaches its zenith, a maelstrom of emotion where Liam Neeson's trademark restraint shatters like glass under Denise Welch's unyielding gale. The argument has evolved beyond the initial trigger, weaving in threads of industry inequity and personal penance. Liam's voice now a thunderous baritone honed from years of on-set commands. I've faced real monsters, filmed in war zones, held guns for real in training, but this feels like piling on a man who's already atoned. His words carry the weight of authenticity, eyes scanning the audience for allies, finding a smattering of supportive claps amid the tense hush. Denise, her posture ramrod straight, counters with the precision of a surgeon. Atoned? By what metric? Liam, a tweet, a donation slip. Real atonement is systemic. Your next film casting diversely, scripts challenging bias, not just survival stories from a white lens. She's channeling the zeitgeist, Her references to recent Oscar slights and streaming diversity quotas landing like informed indictments. The panel, once a buffer, now amplifies. Nadia shares a story of her own racial microaggressions on set, humanizing the abstract, while Janet quips, "Darlings, we're all biased baggage in unpack or perish." Laughter, nervous and sparse, underscores the levity's return, but it's fleeting. Liam, pacing the sofa's edge like a caged lion, retorts, "Systemic? I'm one man, denies he not the bloody academy. I've mentored young actors of color, given breaks where studios wouldn't." It's a defensive flourish, naming names like John Boyega from their Star Wars overlap, but Denise dissects, "Mentorship's noble, but your 2019 soundbite echoed louder than any credit." Echoes hurt, the riposte stings, invoking the viral backlash of petitions with 100K signatures. Variety op-eds decrying casual racism in A-lists. Liam's temper flares visibly, veins pulsing at his temple. Echoes, "You're dredging graves for clicks. I came to talk shadow pursuit, not to litigate 6 years gone." The meta-complaint about the show's agenda ignites fresh fuel, the audience buzzing with divided loyalties. The aftermath of Liam Neeson's abrupt departure from the Loose Women set unfolds like a slow-motion car crash, captivating and catastrophic, as the studio door's thud reverberates through the hearts of viewers tuned in across the nation and beyond. In that suspended instant, Denise Welch remains seated, her chest rising and falling with the rhythm of restrained triumph, while co-host Christine Lampard ad-libs desperately, "Well, that was intense." We'll be right back after this break. The audience, a sea of wide-eyed faces, erupts into a cacophony of whispers and applause, half for the drama's thrill, half in shock at the unceremonious end. Cameras linger on the empty sofa spot, the overturned glass a poignant prop in the tableau of tension, shards glinting under the Klieg lights like fallen stars. Backstage, Liam's handler hustles him into a green room turned war room, where he paces, phone in hand, muttering bloody ambush to his publicist on the line from LA. The call's frantic, damage control protocols active, statements drafted, crisis PR firms pinged, his next premiere now shadowed by scandal. Meanwhile, in the control booth, producers high-five and fret in equal measure ratings will spike, but at the cost of burned bridges. ITV execs, monitoring from glass-walled offices, debate, clip it for YouTube goldmine. And indeed, within minutes, the full segment uploads, racking up 5 million views by evening. Hashtags #Neeson Walkout and #Denise Drag trending globally. Denise, post-break, addresses the camera with poise. Liam's a legend. But legends evolve. Conversation over confrontation, that's the goal. Her words, laced with grace, temper the backlash brewing online, where trolls dub her woke warrior and fans crown her queen of clapbacks. The panel reconvenes, dissecting the dust-up. Nadia laments the lost dialogue, Janet jokes he took particular set of skills personally, eliciting relieved laughs. But beneath the banter, ripples spread. Liam's film Shadow Pursuit, set for December release, sees pre-sales dip 10%, per Box Office Mojo alerts, while Denise's follower count surges by 50K, her book sales ticking up on Amazon. Media frenzy ignites. The Sun splashes Neeson kicked off Loose Women in racial fury, while The Guardian opines Welch's righteous reckoning, when talk shows turn tribunal. Pundits piling up. Piers Morgan tweets Denise Welch just cancelled Liam Neeson Live. Next, Mother Teresa, drawing 20K likes from his echo chamber. Conversely, Oprah's media arm praises Brave TV holding power accountable. Liam, en route to his Mayfair hotel, issues a statement via Reps. Respectful exchange turned heated. I value tough questions but regret the exit. Denise is formidably kudos to her candor. Back to the work. It's diplomatic, diffusing bombs without disowning defense. But skeptics sniff spin. Denise responds on air next day. No regrets. A growth hurts.